Well, Bill Morneau resigned as finance minister and as member of parliament, but it's bigger than that. It's about the show, and I do use the word show intentionally because it feels like we are watching a show. As the scandals started piling up on the government, to the point where the average person who does not follow news as much as you or I might, the average person started getting uncomfortable with what was going on with the Trudeau government. As this started happening, the channel had to be changed. So we went from the We scandal to Catherine McKenna getting death threats. We went from Leslie Lewis and the Conservative leadership race to Kamala Harris. We went from any number of things to any number of other things that had nothing to do with the We scandal or with any of the other scandals of the government because it was time to change the channel. This got me thinking a bit further about intellectuals and political elites in this country. Now, I'm going to borrow a definition from one of my political heroes, Dr. Thomas Sowell, who I often speak about, and he has a good definition for intellectuals, and I'm going to lump in politicians as well because they sort of fit the bill in this country. He has a definition where he says basically that intellectuals are people whose end product is ideas. So people who do not produce anything aside from ideas. Now, these could be writers, historians, academics, and I'm going to add politicians because they don't actually make those policies happen. That's for bureaucrats and other government employees or government agencies to do. They basically write the paper, they put out the idea. Now, why is this important? It's important because of this framework that you have to understand. This is former Ethics Commissioner Mary Dawson, who basically said this about Trudeau's many, many ethics violations. I feel that the Prime Minister's heart is in the right place, said Dawson. I feel he tries to do the right thing. He tries to do good. And I just think these things have been oversights, basically. Now, this is what is wrong with the intellectual establishment, or as Dr. Thomas Sowell calls them, the anointed. They basically have the view where their superior intellect and their insight means that they are the ones should be in charge of what happens in society. Now, of course, because this is sort of foolish to begin with, that some elite few are going to control what happens for everyone, they have to basically believe, and they do believe if you listen to their rhetoric, they have to basically believe that they are on the side of good versus evil. That's why so much of the left-wing talking points tend to be that you are deficient, you're somehow morally deficient, you're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're something, you're just some kind of deficient person if you don't agree or you don't view the world in the way that the anointed understand the world. And this is the heart of the issue with what's going on in Canada. As the layers of the onion started getting peeled back from this government, so scandal, we started peeling back the layers and finding out that maybe the Prime Minister is not such a big feminist. Maybe he's not such a stand-up guy. And I've met the guy, he's been perfectly cordial with me, but it doesn't mean he's a good Prime Minister or that he's actually a stand-up guy. He just had a cordial conversation with me. But perhaps it means that there's something there, and that's what the average Canadian, again, the people who do not follow the news as much as you or I, that's what the average Canadian is starting to see. They're getting uncomfortable with what is going on in this government, and we should be uncomfortable because the presumption of insight is what actually produces this climate where media and the people who push out these ideas, the people who push out the ideas of the elites, of the intellectuals, the climate is changed because it stops you from being able to take certain actions or even discuss certain things. And that is what has been happening. The channel is being changed. Again, we went from We scandal to Catherine McKenna getting death threats. And that's no small thing. I've got a number of death threats. They're scary. And no one should be threatening her with anything. But the fact is, this government has a lot that it's done wrong, and people have a lot of questions. And it's perfectly legitimate to want answers to those questions. But instead, all we're getting is changing the channel. All we're getting is sort of obfuscation, we're getting denials, and we're getting, Bill Morneau suddenly resigning instead of talking about the deficit, instead of talking about the money that he accepted from We or Feed the Children as they used to be called. We're getting a lot of things besides the answers, and that's what's important to Canadians. So as Canadians, we have to demand answers. We have to tell the political elites and the intellectuals that we don't care about their insight. We don't care about their special knowledge that they may have in a particular field. We want the truth, and we want to understand what is going on in this country so we can make the appropriate decisions, because that is our right. That's what we live in. It's a democracy. We need to have the information without being force-fed some sort of propaganda. And that's what I'm trying to do here, trying to look at the heart of the issue and not just force-feed people with propaganda. It's asking the right questions and hopefully getting the right answers. So for True North, I am Sam Eskenasi. Keep asking the right questions, keep commenting, and let's see if we can get to the truth and what is going on in this country. Thank you so much.